What are the odds of surviving an atomic bomb? Now double that. Today's bold chapter tells the story of a man who should not exist. Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a father, an engineer, and the only person officially recognized as having survived both atomic bombs dropped on Japan in 1945. This is a story of science gone mad, of a war that forgot mercy, of a man who was burned, poisoned, and shattered, but still chose to live, not just once, but twice. Every life is a story, but some are unbelievable. This is Bold Chapter. Chapter 1. The Science of Destruction. Before we meet Yamaguchi, we must understand what he survived. In July 1945, the United States successfully tested the world's first nuclear weapon in the New Mexico desert, codename Trinity. Just 3 weeks later, President Truman approved the use of atomic bombs on Japan, hoping to end the war swiftly and avoid a land invasion. 2 targets were chosen: Hiroshima, a military-industrial hub; Nagasaki, a port city with munitions factories. The bombs had innocent names: Little Boy for Hiroshima, Fat Man for Nagasaki. But there was nothing innocent about what they did. At 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945, the Enola Gay dropped Little Boy. It detonated 1,900 feet above Hiroshima. Temperature at ground zero, over 4,000 degrees Celsius. Buildings turned to dust. People turned to shadows. Chapter 2. A Business Trip to Hell. Tsutomu Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima that morning on a business trip. He worked for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, helping design a new oil tanker. It was his final day. He was walking to the shipyard when he saw the bomber pass overhead. Then, a blinding flash. The sky turned white, and time stopped. He was blown off his feet. His arms were burned, his eardrums ruptured, his vision gone. When he awoke, the city was on fire. Hospitals gone, roads melted, bodies everywhere. He spent the night in a collapsed shelter, wrapped in agony and silence. And then, impossibly, he began walking, back home to Nagasaki. Chapter 3. From one nightmare to the next. Yamaguchi arrived in Nagasaki on August 8th. His wife and infant son wept at the sight of him, burned, weak, half dead. The next morning, he reported for work. Yes, work. His supervisor didn't believe his story. One bomb destroyed all of Hiroshima. That's absurd. Moments later, another blinding light, another roar. Fat Man had arrived. This time, Yamaguchi was inside a steel-framed building. It absorbed the blast. Windows shattered, walls shook. But he survived again. 2 bombs, 2 cities, 3 days, and he was still breathing. Chapter 4. A Body Broken, a Family Saved. Yamaguchi's wife and son also survived, because they had left home moments before the second blast. Their house, obliterated. But survival didn't mean safety. In the weeks that followed, Yamaguchi's burns worsened. He vomited constantly. His hair fell out. He hovered between life and death. Radiation sickness was not well understood in 1945, but he lived through it. Others weren't so lucky. By the end of 1945, over 200,000 people had died from the 2 bombings. Thousands more would die slowly, over years. Hey, you're here for bold stories, and we've got plenty more coming. Smash that like button, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and drop a comment to tell us what hit you hardest in this episode. And if you want to ride with us all the way to the top, subscribe right now. Let's make this the fastest growing channel of 2025. It's a community, and you're part of it. Chapter 5. Silence and Stigma. In post-war Japan, survivors of the bombings were known as hibakusha, literally, bomb-affected people. But they were not treated as heroes. They were seen as damaged goods. Employers refused to hire them. Landlords wouldn't rent to them. Some were even denied marriage. There was shame in survival. For decades, Yamaguchi said nothing publicly. He worked as a teacher, then a translator. He raised his children and quietly lived with the memory of fire. Chapter 6. Becoming a Voice. It wasn't until the 2000s, when Yamaguchi was already in his 80s, that he began speaking out. He gave interviews, he wrote poetry, he traveled to schools and forums to warn the world. He met with other hibakusha and shared their burden. In 2006, he said, "I can't understand why the world can't understand the agony of nuclear war." Chapter 7. The man history almost forgot. In 2009, Yamaguchi was officially recognized by the Japanese government as a survivor of both bombs, the only one in history. The news made international headlines. But for Yamaguchi, it wasn't a victory. It was a reminder. He didn't want pity. He wanted people to listen. He died in 2010 at the age of 93, his body worn by radiation, his legacy forged in silence. Chapter 8. The Ghost Cities. Today, Hiroshima and Nagasaki are vibrant cities, but underneath the surface, trauma lingers. There are memorials, museums, plaques with names too long to count. But the world moved on. And sometimes, history feels like a footnote. Yamaguchi's story reminds us that behind every statistic is a heartbeat, a name, a family, a voice. Another chapter closed, but the story is far from over. Subscribe to Bold Chapter and never miss what's next. 2 bombs, 2 cities, 1 man. Tsutomu Yamaguchi didn't build those bombs. He didn't fight the war, but he became its witness. He didn't survive for glory. He survived because he had to. And for the rest of his life, he carried the fire inside him, not with hatred, but with a plea: never again. This was today's Bold Chapter. Subscribe for more stories the world forgot. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram for truth in 60 seconds or less.